This is the new Puma 365 evoKNIT Netfit wait, no, this is it. Sorry, that was a mistake. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Puma 365 evoKNIT Netfit indoors. This is their brand new indoor model that is more or less a variation of what we got from their original Netfit indoor, obviously incorporating their Netfit system, but it also incorporates evoKNIT as a base, extending into a very, very sock-like looking collar. It's an interesting concept, a very interesting indoor shoe, and we're gonna go over all the details in today's video. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire video, and if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up in a few different colorways below their normal $130 retail price. Included in the box as an extra are these blue laces, in case you hate white laces. If you're watching this video, you probably saw my review on these. If you haven't, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen. You can go ahead and check it out. It features their Netfit system and a full mesh base. The midsole and outsole remains the same on the new model. So what they've basically changed is instead of a mesh base, it now has their evoKNIT material, which is kind of Puma's equivalent to Nike Flyknit and Adidas PrimeKnit, and it also has a mid-cut design with this sock-like collar, which just straight up says Puma. They're not trying to hide whose shoe this is, so it doesn't have the form stripe underneath the Netfit system, unlike the previous indoor. It also retails for $30 more, going to $130 rather than $100. Is it worth that extra money considering the changes that they've made to the shoe? I would say for the most part, it is improved. I don't love the look with the collar, especially because of the Puma branding here. I just think it looks too much like an actual sock. But some people might like it, and I'd be curious to hear what your opinions are down below in the comments. And as far as the colorway is concerned, it's definitely very unique, incorporating white, gray, and like a darker navy blue. I think it looks cool, and it definitely does show off the Netfit system, which I think they should be doing as much as possible because the concept is really cool. And I think that's the main reason why you should buy these. So you have that evoKNIT base, which is thicker than what we saw on the mesh base on the original version of this shoe, but still very thin in terms of touch on the ball, and there's really no added structure to it. It's not fully elasticated, but it does have a little bit of stretch, which should be noted. This is not going to be the most overly responsive shoe in the world, especially in the forefoot toe box area, where obviously there aren't any laces positioned. The Netfit system is basically this netted material wrapping over top of the shoe. You can see there's a little split in the middle, so it doesn't necessarily contain your entire foot. This is not meant to be worn laceless by any means at all. You're going to have pretty much no lockdown if you don't use the laces. So within this netting material, which is much more rugged than I think a lot of people realize, if you're worried about this ripping, it really isn't going to. It's like a nylon type, almost like the mesh on a soccer goal, if you can imagine that. Really, really strong. And within any one of these positions in the netting, you can basically thread the laces through. So you create your own lacing system, and really I find the most effective lacing systems are still the ones that cross back and forth over top of your foot, but you can kind of set it up the way you want it to in terms of having more tightness in certain areas and a little bit more stretch in certain areas, which is really, really nice. No matter how you set these up, it's never going to have a super locked in, responsive, really, really tight fit, but for the most part you can achieve a comfortable fit with a decent amount of lockdown that I think most people are looking for from this style of shoe. As far as the heel area is concerned, it doesn't really have the typical mid-cut sensation in terms of how it fits in the heel, mainly just being uncomfortable out of the box. These feel pretty normal. It's pretty much just an extension piece. That is one piece kind of flowing from the rest of the upper, which is a really interesting design. But unlike most other collars, you're going to notice that it doesn't actually have a seam at the back. They put the seam at the front, which I think is a little bit strange. You're going to notice some roughness right here, but it's not really noticeable once you have them on, especially when you're wearing socks. So it's not really that big of a deal. And obviously the tightness of the collar is just going to depend on the shape of your ankle. This has nothing to do with structural integrity or lockdown. It purely is an extension piece. And they added this little pull tab at the back as well, which I actually quite like with the collar. It even has the reflective strip there running through the middle. Internal plastic heel counter, which feels quite solid on this shoe. The heel liner is a really nice synthetic suede with a decent amount of padding. And I'll give you guys a quick look at the insole as well. It's pretty straightforward, featuring a nice kind of mesh suede material on top, the 365 logo there at the heel. It's just a single layer of matching navy blue foam. Nothing special, but it gets the job done. Although, it is worth noting that this is going to provide the majority of your underfoot cushioning in the forefoot area because there really isn't much of a midsole with this shoe. As far as the midsole and outsole is concerned, this of course is an indoor variation, but you can use it for street soccer as well. We'll get into that in just a second. The midsole is their evoKNIT foam material, which you can see it visible in white through basically the heel and midfoot area, and then it kind of disappears underneath the rubber through the forefoot, where you do have a little bit of an extended lip, typical of most indoor shoes for the sake of durability, of course. And really the evoKNIT foam is something you're going to find on a lot of Puma's their running shoes and just performance models in general. But it doesn't feel, in my opinion, like anything particularly special in terms of underfoot cushioning, just because it's extremely thin in terms of how they implemented it. It looks kind of high here, but you actually sit beneath that. This is more so just kind of a carrier on the outside of the shoe itself. So very minimal cushioning pretty much all the way through from heel to toe. So if you're looking for kind of a low profile sensation, very close to the ground in terms of how your foot sits in the shoe, that's exactly what you're gonna get here. Also in terms of structure, there's really not a lot of it through the forefoot and toe box area, so plenty of flexibility. They really do have that sock-like sensation on your feet, especially with the new knitted upper that they've incorporated. And as far as the outsole is concerned, I believe there is a turf variation of this shoe available as well, although I could be wrong on that. The indoor model is pretty straightforward in terms of its kind of layout. It's got these little triangular cutouts, pretty flat overall. So for concrete, asphalt, kind of like a street soccer type environment, the traction is decent and the durability is also quite decent. But on an indoor court, if it's a little bit dusty, this does clog up and doesn't necessarily provide the best traction ever. But obviously if the floor is really clean, they're gonna work quite nicely. So overall, it's a decent indoor bottom, definitely not the best in terms of overall traction, but the durability will definitely be there. And as long as the surface is clean, you're unlikely to have too many issues there. In terms of weight, these actually surprised me a little bit because when I weighed them, the number didn't necessarily match what I thought I felt in hand as well as on feet. In a size 9.5 US, these weigh in at 10.7 ounces, which I was expecting them to be right around the 9 ounce mark in terms of how they feel. They don't really feel like they're close to 11 ounces, but the scale doesn't lie, they are. So if you're looking for a super lightweight sensation, I actually think these feel relatively light for indoor shoes just based on the upper being so soft and so sock-like on your feet. But theoretically, there are definitely much lighter indoors out there. So if that's something that you really value in a pair of soccer shoes in general, maybe these aren't the best option for you, but if you like the concept and what they have on offer, personally, I don't think you're gonna have any issues with the weight of them. All right, so as you can see, I swapped out the stock white laces for some white and black grid pattern SR4U replacement laces, which I think look really cool because the grid pattern actually matches the grid pattern within the Netfit system itself. Just a nice little match and a little bit of a different look. Anyways, if you are interested in a pair of SR4U replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen, as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. So on feet, these fit really well. You can see I have them laced up two different ways, and really like a lot of the Netfit products that I've tried, the fit of the shoe is very much based on how you've actually set up the lacing system. So on the left foot, I kind of just have the standard lacing that they come with out of the box, which is perfectly fine. I really don't have any issues with lacing them up this way, but because you have the option to customize them, you might as well do that. So my logic with the customization that I've done here is I'm slightly flat-footed and I kind of like to not have too much tightness and pressure on the midfoot area just because I find it a little bit more uncomfortable. So what I like is in the forefoot, where really the most of the stress is going to be in terms of quick cuts and changing of direction. I like to use the lowest possible lacing points within the Netfit system, which I've done on both the lateral and medial side for the first two lacing positions. And then as I get closer towards the midfoot, I like to go higher up so there's just less pressure and a little bit more stretch in the arch of my foot right there. And then on the lateral side, I kind of went a little bit lower just to maintain slightly more lockdown. And then I use the further back lacing positions. You have two options right there, just because I like how that feels. It helps to lock your heel in a little bit more, I guess securely is the best way to put it. So again, it's really a matter of getting these and playing around with the lacing system. Although I will say that the most effective lacing systems are still the ones that go back and forth across the top of your foot. If you're doing these really fancy looking ones, they might look cool, but are they the most effective? In my opinion, no. Now, with the lacing system even set up properly, I will say that this is not an extremely responsive shoe. There just isn't a lot of structure to the base of this upper, even with the Netfit system on top. So if you're looking for a super secure kind of Mercurial-esque responsiveness, you're not going to get it from this shoe. This feels more like a pair of socks that you can kind of tighten up through the Netfit system, which is actually very comfortable, but obviously something that is not for everybody. It depends on what you're looking for. The upper though, super soft, super flexible. This material just feels higher quality than the mesh that we saw in the previous version of the shoe. And as far as the heel area is concerned, it pretty much fits the same way in the heel like a standard low cut, but it has the extended collar, which personally I don't care for the look of, but it doesn't really bother me in terms of feel and general comfort either. So I don't really have any major issues with it. And as far as underfoot cushioning is concerned, they're very low profile. A little bit more cushion in the heel rather than the forefoot toe area, but for the most part, if you're looking for that close to the ground sensation, these will definitely provide that. As far as width is concerned, because the base evoKNIT upper is fairly stretchy, and the way you can kind of customize the lacing system, it allows you to fit in this shoe, even if you do have wider feet or narrow feet, these will fit just about everybody, I would say. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing a size 9.5 US, which is about a half size larger than I would normally wear in a lot of soccer shoes, including indoor models. And I'd say the fit and length is pretty much perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would personally recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. So to sum up this particular indoor model from Puma, it's very unique. I can recommend them, I'll say that much, but it's difficult to compare them to other shoes out there, especially the $130 price point. It's kind of in its own little category, because obviously the top end mid-cut stuff from Nike as well as Adidas is closer to like $175, $200, where these are more so right at about $130, and then everything below this at like $100 or less that you can get that's mid-cut, like a Mercurial Victory 6DF. That's just not a very good shoe in comparison to this in terms of quality, in terms of fit, in terms of performance characteristics. These are much better. So basically what I'll say is this: if you're curious about the Netfit system and you like the overall design of this shoe, you like what you heard in this particular review, I definitely can recommend them, and I think you're gonna have an enjoyable experience with this very unique indoor model from Puma. Anyways, guys, that is it for my review. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself in this colorway or the other colorways currently available, you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $130 retail price. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you enjoyed the video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.